Why did Ayano let Nanase come with him during the island exam in Classroom of the Elite? He originally decided to take on the island exam alone, and when he had the opportunity to work with his classmates, he decided not to. But when Nanase asked to join him, he let her come with him. We know that a major reason he didn't join his classmates and went at it alone is because he knew that others would slow him down. And he even gave the same argument to Nanase when she asked to join him. But after she persisted, he let her join him, even when he still could have declined. And we do see it kind of hold him back later, as he was unable to go back to the starting area for more water because he was with her. Despite this, it's important to mention that Nanase is really athletic, with Ayano thinking she could shortly move up to an A on her physical OAA score from her already high B+, so she wouldn't hold him back nearly as much as others. However, I don't think that would be enough to sway Ayano's opinion, and there are other factors besides physical strength that can cause her to hold him back. Instead, I think he decided to let her join him because he's suspicious of her, as she has the special exam to expel him and she could be a potential White Room student, so by keeping her close, he can monitor her and keep himself safe. Where do demons and vampires come from in Seraph of the End? Despite their constant appearance throughout the series, it's never explained where demons or even vampires come from, and it's actually really interesting. As it turns out, humans, vampires, and demons are very closely connected. This is because vampires don't reproduce like a typical species, as the only way to create a new vampire is to have a human drink the blood of an existing vampire. That also means that every single vampire around was at one point human. And is it just me, or is it kind of weird that they can go from being a human to go into literal war against them? Anyways, once humans are turned into vampires, they're basically immortal, with many of them living for centuries to millennia, and even when they do die, they're actually still alive. You may have noticed this throughout the show, but many demons have a very similar appearance to vampires, and that's because all vampires eventually become demons, but when they do, they lose all of their memories. But that's not the only way demons can be created, as humans can also become demons directly. We've seen this a lot with you, but if a human has a contract with a demon and they give in to their desires too much, their personality will begin to merge with their demons, and eventually it can turn the human into a new demon entirely.
Did you know that Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian was actually supposed to be an isekai? Originally, the author of the series wanted to make a series where the main female protagonist would be reincarnated into an isekai world where nobody spoke Japanese, and despite that, she would sometimes still talk to the main male protagonist in Japanese. However, there would be a hidden twist where the male protagonist was also reincarnated, so he would understand all the Japanese she was saying to him. After a lot of thought, the author of the series decided to scrap the idea because of the difficulties of world building, and he instead opted to go for a simpler high school environment. As for the reason behind why he decided to choose Russian as the foreign language spoken, was because he wanted the female lead to look foreign, and he was influenced by the beauty of Russian women, leading to the creation of Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian. Did you know that an Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian? The reason why Kuze became so lazy is because of his mom. As a kid, Kuze used to be a very hard worker, constantly studying and practicing the piano. However, when he is shown as a high schooler, he has a bad reputation around the school for being a slacker, constantly forgetting his notebook and falling asleep in class. The reason for Kuze's drastic change was actually because of his mom. Kuze's reason for working so hard all the time when he was a kid was to impress his mom and earn her approval. However, one day when he was practicing the piano, his mom walked in on him and yelled at him to stop playing, crushing all of Kuze's efforts. At that moment, Kuze became unmotivated to do anything. He said that because of that, he experienced what it felt like for hard work to not pay off, demotivating Kuze completely. However, Kuze believes he uses that experience as an excuse for being a slacker, and that he is just that type of person at his core. Did you know that an Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian? Ayano actually hides herself behind a mask? In the manga, when Ayano is talking to Kuze, Ayano says that as Yuki's servant, she has an obligation to figure out the true intentions of people who oppose her, and that even includes Kuze. She even went as far as to say that clearing the path to student council president for Yuki was also part of her obligation, playing into the role of a villain. However, when Ayano expressed her concerns of Kuze lying about the fact that he would never do anything to make Yuki sad, Kuze saw Ayano's true intentions and feelings. In that moment, Kuze recalled that even though Ayano may seem indifferent, she actually has much more kindness and love in her heart over anyone else he knows. And because of that, Ayano was willing to play the role of the villain to figure out if Kuze was intentionally betraying Yuki to make her sad, as Ayano cared about Yuki that deeply, and it wasn't just her role as a servant that made her confront Kuze. How did Ayano Koji not know what the average grip strength was in Classroom of the Elite? He comes from the White Room where they teach the students almost everything they would ever need to know. So why did he have to ask Pseudo what the average grip strength was? At the very least, Ayano Koji learned about anatomy and biology in the White Room, meaning he'd know about different muscle groups, how they function, and how strong each of them were. Ayano Koji himself knew the 2 individual muscles that contributed to grip strength the most, and he knew a rough estimate of how high a person's grip strength can be. So it's obvious his knowledge on the topic is vast. On top of this, his body was trained to be insanely strong, so knowing the average of any physical metric could prove to be useful. It is almost certain that Ayano Koji wasn't putting on an act and pretending he didn't know the grip strength because he was somewhat surprised when Harada said his grip strength results were stronger than the average. It could be because the White Room doesn't want its students to know any averages because they want their students to be the absolute best, and knowing an average can lower the students' expectations, but that's probably not the case. It's probably because the White Room wants to create geniuses, and data that's super specific isn't important enough to teach. Did you know why everyone dislikes Tamori and Charlotte? Even though she's the student council president, Tamori isn't popular and is disliked by almost the entire student body. In her childhood, Tamori was a smart kid who passed the entrance exam for a prestigious middle school. Unfortunately, due to her brother's ability and her potential to have one, her mom gave them up to the government for money, and Tamori was forced into a boarding school that was secretly run by the government to test people with abilities. Her friends here were planted by the government, and they prevented her from seeing her brother while scientists were experimenting on him. After a year, she was finally allowed to see her brother, but he was in a vegetated state due to all of the experiments. This was when she learned the truth about the school she was in, and that her friends were frauds. She fled from the school and vowed never to trust anyone again, and later would enroll in the Hoshinumi Academy and develop her special ability of invisibility to one person. She likely enrolled in the academy while she was still in middle school, and due to her mistrust of people, short temper, strong sense of justice, and her bluntness to others, she got into fights with others and used her ability to give her an unfair advantage. Because she was only invisible to the person she was fighting, everybody else knew it was her who was beating people up and didn't care for the reason, so everyone began to dislike her. Did you know that in Re:Zero, Reinhardt is so strong that he actually had to get rid of one of his divine protections as a kid due to it being too dangerous? When Reinhardt was around 4 years old, his father was tasked with a mission to convince a former knight named Marcos to rejoin the Imperial Knights. After trying to convince Marcos to join, Marcos ultimately rejected the proposal as he had other priorities. This rejection left Reinhardt's father feeling upset, and on his way home, he ran into Reinhardt. Seeing how upset his father was due to failing his mission, Reinhardt asked his dad if he would feel better if Marcos rejoined the Imperial Knights. His dad told him that he would, and after hearing that, Reinhardt used a divine protection that he had that was able to alter or change someone's mind and thoughts without their knowledge, and he used it to make Marcos rejoin the Imperial Knights without ever meeting or coming into contact with him. However, Reinhardt's father would find out about it, and once he found out, he pleaded with Reinhardt to never use that power again, as it was so dangerous to the point where it could destroy nations. And it was not right to alter someone's mind, as their mind belongs to them. Hearing his father's pleas, Reinhardt decided to get rid of the divine protection, so that he couldn't use it again. Did you know that in Re:Zero, what Echidna's future would be if she were ever to be summoned to the real world without any abilities? During a Q&A, the author of Re:Zero actually revealed what the most likely scenario would be if Echidna ever got summoned into the real world. However, in this case, Echidna would be summoned into the world without any of her abilities, such as the witch factor of greed, or any magic, and she would have to get by just like a regular person would. He revealed that because of Echidna's unique personality, like the fact that she likes to talk a lot, show off her endless knowledge, and has the ability to maintain her focus really well, that she could have a promising but unique career in the real world. He added that because she has a pretty face and has a mentality that allows her to take criticism